Alright, so you want to make an 808. There's two quick things you have to get out of the way first, and then I'll show you how to do that. The first thing is that you need to be able to hear sub-bass frequencies like this. If you can't hear that, you need to invest in some headphones or speakers that can play frequencies that low. Pretty much everything from like 80 to 30 about, maybe a little below 30 even, it's what you really need. The second thing is that we need to define 808 so that we're on the same page. So like originally 808s were made with the Roland TR-808 drum machine, which is where they get their name, right? They were made by taking a kick drum on that drum machine and increasing either like the sustain or release time so that it plays out a note in a sub-bass frequency. So we're talking a noise that starts with like a kick or a thump, followed by like a decaying sub-bass, something like this. So that's just a really basic example. We don't have to be super strict about it, but this is just like the general idea of what an 808 is. Okay, now there's a lot of ways to make an 808, but I'm going to start with the most simple. The first thing you need to do is load up a synthesizer. I'm going to use Sytrus, which is a super basic synthesizer. The main thing you need is a way to control the volume envelope and then a way to control the pitch envelope. You could probably get away with something that doesn't control the pitch envelope, but you won't have the same kind of like thump at the beginning without it. So you really want to have both. Most synthesizers nowadays have both. It shouldn't be hard for you to find one. There's free synthesizers. If your DAW doesn't already have a synthesizer with it, you can go download some free synthesizers, which I'll actually be using a free synthesizer here in a bit. And this synthesizer that I'm using, Sytrus, comes with FL Studio. But if you're using another DAW, you don't have Sytrus, so I'll show you another synthesizer you can download. But so to start off with like the super simple 808, you just need a sine wave. So it sounds like that to start. Annoying. Let's turn the volume down a bit. And then you can either tune it down here or in the piano roll, you can drag it down. We're going to drag it down 2 octaves right now. The actual note we're looking for is C2, but because this is down 24 semitones, we're actually going to be playing C3 with that sine wave at the moment. So the first thing we're going to do is create a simple pitch envelope that just kind of drops like that. And see, it creates kind of that thump noise that we're looking for. Next, we're going to just do a very simple volume envelope. We want the attack basically as short as possible without like clicking or popping. And then we're just going to drag out the sustain a bit. Whenever I make 808s, I make them slightly longer than what I would actually use them as. So I'm going to drag it out to here, maybe. And so that's your basic 808. And then what I do from there is I record it in Edison. And then I just kind of clean it up a bit. And then I'll save the sample as a WAV file, and I have a folder full of samples. Pull out the 808 we made. And then I just did a kind of random pattern to kind of show. Basically what it sounds like, you know? And then in the sampler itself, you can like shorten it. If you don't have Edison, you can also download Audacity. It's free. It basically does the same exact thing as Edison. The interface is a little old and like very reminiscent of like early computers, but it gets the job done. So if you don't have something like Edison, use Audacity. Okay, so now the next way we're going to make an 808 is with this synthesizer called Vital. This synthesizer is completely free to download, and it's super powerful. If you don't have it, I recommend downloading it. We're going to start by doing the same exact thing we did last time. We're going to do a pitch envelope. I normally do about 12. You can also do 24. You generally don't want to go more than that, because if you do, you'll get like a laser beam sound like this. I mean, maybe that's the sound you're going for, but generally it's not when it comes to an 808. So I'm going to go 12, and then I'm going to move it down 2 octaves. Okay, and then we just make a volume envelope. We're going to increase the attack just a bit. But so then that's your basic 808, but you can do a lot of different stuff with it from here. So for example, you could do different wave shapes. You can throw all sorts of different effects on it. We're going to use Unison. We have a filter match the pitch envelope, see what that does. So one thing about Unison and Chorus is that it turns the entire sound into stereo, and you generally don't want sub-bass sounds to be in stereo. So a common way to kind of fix that issue is to completely cut out the sub bass of a sound like this and then layer it with a mono sub bass, like just a basic 808 maybe. That's just one way to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but generally you want the sub bass to be in mono. So you could even do that in the synthesizer itself, cutting out the sub bass of the first one and then creating a second 808, basically doing the same thing. So once you kind of know the basics, you can kind of just mess with whatever you want, create some really interesting sounds that go off of like that bass template. And again, you can record it in Edison, make it a sample. You don't have to, it's just, that's what I find preferable. And so here's basically the example. So weirder 808s are going to be a little less practical, like in terms of like using every single time, you know, so you might just want to use them as like an accent 808. But you know, that's kind of up to you to figure out how you want to use your sounds. You can also make all sorts of like other like samples into 808. So here I'm going to take some guitar. I'm going to use the tools in the sampler to give it a volume envelope similar to what we would get from an 808. Then I'm going to stretch it to kind of tune it down. Okay, I think that's mostly in tune with C2, which is what we're going for. I'm going to filter out some of these super muddy frequencies and then kind of filter out some of the staticky noise. But you'll notice we don't really have that thump. It's kind of like a bass pluck, so we want something to add a thump to it. So we're going to do another sample. I'm going to take this random paper tearing sound, and I really just want kind of like the volume peak here. Okay, and then I'm going to filter out the high end, because the thump's mainly in like the sub and the bass frequencies. So we're going to use EQ to shape the tone. Okay, and so now together we have this. So once again, we're going to record it in Edison. Something really useful about Edison is that it has the volume envelope inside of it. Okay, and so then here's what it sounds like as a sample, the same pattern we've been using. Okay, so the last way we're going to make an 808 starts with a kick sample. Which, by the way, if you also want me to show you how to make kicks, let me know in the comments, and I could do that. And this might seem really weird, but then we're going to use a delay. We're going to turn off tempo sync, so we're doing it by milliseconds. Then we're going to turn up the feedback. See where I'm going with this? Okay, and then you mess with the time until you get like the note you want. See, I'm aiming for C2. So if I look here, yeah, see, it's playing C2, C3, and then you can increase the feedback if you want it longer. And then I'm going to put a cutoff on it because I really just want the bass notes. And then really that's pretty much it. Here's the 808 I already made using that exact technique. Same stupid pattern I've been using. Okay, and then the final thing I'm going to teach you is 808 layering. Generally, when you use like these weirder 808s, it's a good idea to layer it to really get that 808 feel, because if I'm being honest, even though it has the thump and the decaying sub bass, it doesn't quite sound like an 808. Like it just doesn't have the same feel. So layering with like a really heavy sub bass 808 can give you more of the sound you're looking for. And then tweaking the different decays on everything. And so then you might have something more like this. And then you can combine all the different techniques, and then you can have all sorts of different 808 sounds like this. You know, whatever comes in handy at the time. But so yeah, let me know in the comments if you want me to do any more tutorials like this. If this helped you at all, please like, and if you want more videos like this, subscribe. So far, this channel has just mainly been me uploading beats, but if people want stuff like this, then yeah, I can make it.